Someone who is watching this video might ask oneself, what is Vue? Vue.js is a progressive JavaScript framework for programming for web development. One of the advantages of Vue is that it can often be implemented in pre-existing projects, as Vue mainly focuses on the view layer of the UI and it does not interfere much most of the time. What does Vue really do is another question people might ask. What Vue really does is it allows one to separate the data from the HTML and store it in the script. Now we're going to move on to how to get started using Vue. The first step is to go to vuejs.org, so vuejs.org. After going to vuejs.org, click on Get Started. This page gives a quick introduction as to what it is and introductions on some of the core concepts that are necessary to learn, and it is highly advised to read these things. But for starts, we're going to go on to installation. On the left-hand side. Now you can either download Vue and deal with it that way, which is more complicated than necessary for what we're doing right now, or you can choose to copy the snippet of code they provided and use Vue via Content Delivery Network and a CDN. For the purpose of this video, we're just going to use the CDN. And we're going to copy the top one, I believe. So this is an example of what we're going to do. We're going to make it so that this text pops up and create a list, but not using the standard means of creating a list, just in a way that's unique to Vue. So to start with, I'm going to declare the doc type. I'm going to skip right into style, but then I'm not actually, because I don't need a header because I'm not really doing anything fancy or making a real page. I am just going to do a little bit in style and then switch and then come back to it later, because if I did all the style first, it wouldn't make much sense to people, would it? I'm just going to do the body part of the style right away. And color black, please. Thank you. After the body, there's going to be one for both of the sections that I'm doing, but we'll come back to that after. Alright, I had to edit it because something popped up on my screen that I don't want on the video, but basically I just split it in half so you can see what I'm doing. Now for the body. Let's start with the div. Actually, this is going to be at the end of the body, but we're going to paste the script in there. We're going to do a div ID plus equals and app. This is the typical thing they use in their tutorials, the name for the ID, but it could be really anything you want it to be. It could be bananas for all they care, as long as it's, they just like using app. As long as you match the later parts in the script with the ID, doesn't really matter what you're doing. This one's going to create the hidden message, and so first thing we're gonna do is create the app, and we're gonna close this off, just leave it like that for now. We're gonna go down, we're gonna create it's a little bit all over the place, but you need to be doing two things at once anyway. So script, this is where view really comes in. Var app equals new view. Standard brackets, curly brackets, and then everything's inside the standard brackets and the curly brackets. L her element, EL her element, and then because we're in script, it needs to be on this hashtag app, comma, and then here's where we put the data. Like, remember what I was saying about separating the data from the rest of the HTML? This is how it functions. We're gonna create a hidden message, and we're also going to create a hidden message. Is like a message that appears when your mouse is like just chilling on something. So do I have any here? Yeah, like index.html right there, it appeared as I left the mouse on it. And just a normal message. That's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna start with the message. I'm going to continue the sentence in a different thing. You will see it later. It really doesn't matter what you're doing here. It's just an example of how to use it, because I'm not creating anything useful with this. It's just a way of showing people how to use it. Oops. And hidden message, because we're gonna do two things. How about this is cool? We'll do that. And that's the data that's inside the new app. If we go back up to the div ID that we did earlier, we will do, for the message, display what's within the message here. We'll go curly brackets, like too deep, space, message, space. And that should display the message. And now because I'm not breaking the line or anything, I want it to come right after the message. We're going to do something that is unique to Vue. We're going to use vbind, which is something that Vue has built in to the title. So basically what we're doing here, span v bind, and we're going to just do a typo, keep it simple. Hidden message, because that's what we called it. And here is for what comes after the please leave your mouse, so it's going to be just right afterwards. Although I think I might need a space after that. I think that's good. I'll just have the space just in case. Next, and then just put a header. We're gonna do a header here because it's just easier here. H2. Here is your list. And we're gonna go into the next part. Actually, let's save it and see if it works. Save. Please, this is cool. See, it appears where it says this is cool. So hello, please leave your mouse here, and it only works on there. If you leave it here, it doesn't work. But if you leave it on the word here, it actually works. And then here's your list. It's just for preparing for the next little thing that we're gonna do. You don't need to make it any bigger than that. Okay, so for the next little section that we're gonna do, it's I'm gonna introduce the idea of a component. Very simple component. It allows you to create reusable chunks of code in Vue. Vue dot component. I always spell this wrong. List item. And then comma, curly brackets. This is how it works. Yes. And then we're gonna use props. Square brackets, list. This is downright confusing to people that are new. It was confusing the first time I saw it. Like, what's with all the friggin' different brackets and all sorts of other things, but it does end up being useful. This is like adding the HTML to it. And there we go. That's the template. The HTML is the template for the component. And now up here, I can use that template to actually create something. All right. So we're going to create a new div. ID equals, let's just call it app2 with our genius sense of naming skills. We'll create an ordered list. I think that's what OL stands for. And list item. Now that it has that tag, oops, and V4, it's another kind of thing that Vue allows you to do. It's like a for loop in a sense, except we're just going to do it for V4 equals the item in food list. That will be explained later. V bind. We can do this all at once. This is like the cool thing about, one of the cool things about Vue. List equals item. V bind key equals item dot ID. Just back up on that a bit. All right, there we go. And that's all we need to write in for the div. So down here we're going to create the new instance of the Vue. There, app2 equals new Vue and regular brackets, curly brackets, element is what we call the div up there, so app2, and then here's where we're adding the data. This is where food list comes in. Excuse my fat fingers. So this is like going through the different IDs that it has to go, or like the different, as we had it earlier, for the different items in the food list. These are the different items in the food list. So ID number 1, we're gonna have, oops, I did not actually mean to have this on there. It's only 1. Veggies, maybe. And we're just gonna add one more thing so that it actually looks like it will be a list. ID. Text. Ice cream, because ice cream is my favorite. And after that, shut down with a square bracket. Why is it? Oh, it already did the square bracket on me. The wonders of this in script. And it should work. Yeah, see? And now all we need to do is go in and make it look beautiful. We're gonna... Okay, it's not actually gonna look beautiful, but such is life. We're just gonna give it something so that it looks fresh. A background. Gray. Font. Yeah, let's font size. Let's go big. Color of the font, white, because we have a background that's gray. Border, that's good enough. We don't need the border. We're just showing for the example. We'll do a border on the other one, on the list. Separate it. App. Border 2 pixels. Give it a style. I like inset. Inset looks nice. And a color. Let's give it a color. Border color. I'm Canadian. I am so used to saying color with a U that I screw it up and I put the U in front sometimes even. Purple. This purple's a cool color. It's not going to look aesthetically good at all with gray, but that's not the point. Let's save. Save. And there we go. So us here, this is cool, and we have the list that looks nice, and it's all on its own things, but it's not created using the standard items. So if we wanted to actually use code to mess with this, we could use code to mess with this. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial.